Hello my friends, welcome to the Wicked Bitter channel. I'm Travis. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for checking it out. If you're somebody who's new to this channel and you love pro wrestling, which let's be honest, if you click this video, that's 100% why you click this video, because you are a wrestling fan. Subscribe to this channel, man. We got a lot going on here. We're posting videos every single week. We talk about Raw, we talk about SmackDown, sometimes we cover NXT, but always we cover the PLEs, and tonight we are talking about Monday Night Raw. I want this channel to be the place to be if you are a wrestling fan. If you love WWE, this is the spot for you. So subscribe to the channel, like the video, and everybody you know that are wrestling fans, bring them over here, because we would love to have you all join everybody that's already here, because this community is getting bigger and bigger, and we're putting out videos every single week. This channel will not stop for anybody. Oh, my friends, I hope you had a great weekend. Just a quick little thing before I get into what happened on Monday Night Raw. I am going to put out more videos this week, but it might be a few days or a couple of days. Just a fair warning. I have a project that's due today for my course. It's not wrestling related as much as I would love it to be. And like I mentioned in another video, the course is pretty rough. It's kind of rocky right now for me. Don't know what my future holds with it. I don't know if I'm going to be passing it or failing it. If you really want to dig into it, it's split up into 4 units. This is the second unit. Every unit has a project. I might be able to pass the second project, but by the time the third one rolls around, which we've been told it's supposed to be the hardest one out of all of the projects, that's the one a lot of people fail on. So I don't know what's going to happen, but just letting you know, just in case you don't see me for a couple of days. But believe me, you know what I would love, actually, is if you would send in emails. The next video I can make could be an email video. That'd be fun. Just send in the emails, wickedbittermedia@gmail.com. I'll put it in the video, and I'll put it in the description. Let me know your thoughts, Monday Night Raw, or what's going to happen coming up at Bash in Berlin, or just anything in general. Whatever you want to talk about WWE related, let me know. Just send in the email, and the next video I make, I will answer your emails in that video. Rhea Ripley starts out Monday Night Raw, gets down to the ring. She cuts a pretty short promo, but she basically says that she's pissed off. Pissed off at Dom about what happened. She had a couple of weeks to think about SummerSlam, and she keeps replaying it in her head. She's really pissed off. And then Dominik and Liv interrupt her. They're in the crowd all the way up top. And I've mentioned this before, and it still bothers me. I think it's always going to bother me. It's such a small thing, but like my eyes just like lock into it every single time. And if you've seen some of my videos before, you probably know where I'm going with this if you've noticed it too. But when Dom was about to talk on the mic, he lifts up his hand and he's got his freaking wedding ring on. Like, I don't know why it bothers me so much, dude. Like, I know that he's married in real life. I know that. I know. But like, just for the moment, like just for this, at least the segments that you're going to be actually on TV, could you at least maybe take it off? I don't know. Like, I get it that he might not want to, or he has an agreement with his wife that he won't, or I don't know what the deal is. But to me, as a fan who's invested, and I want to buy in, they want us to buy in and believe everything we see, right? You can't be coming out there with your wedding ring on, dude. I'm not gonna take it seriously. As much as I know that he's married in real life, we're not talking about real life. We're talking about Monday Night Raw. We're talking about WWE, and in WWE, Dom right now is not married. But that ring says otherwise. I don't know. It's such a small thing, but it's something I always notice. I always pick it out, and it bothers me every time, and I just can't get over it. It's probably me. I'm probably the only one in the minority here. Dominik eventually asks Rhea Ripley, "Do you know why I left you for Liv?" And the crowd's booing the hell out of him, which we all knew that was going to happen. But Dom basically says he was very embarrassed, always being bossed around by Rhea. He's a man that should be treated like a man. Instead of him having to call Rhea mommy, he now has somebody calling him daddy, and she gets him tendies, lets him play video games, and that's why he left. He wanted the video games, he wanted the tendies, and he wanted to be called daddy. I can't blame him, to be honest with you. Damian Priest appears behind Dominik and Liv Morgan in the crowd up top. Dom turns around, and then it becomes a big brawl. They brawl in the back, and then I guess Rhea runs up the stairs and attacks Liv, and it's just this whole thing back and forth, just a massive breakout brawl. And Dom and Priest end up making their way back into the ring. We get commercials, and after commercials, Carlito, who had showed up before the commercial, just went to break. Carlito versus Priest. We just jump right into that match, and I mean, we could all pretty much guess what happens here, right? Priest beats Carlito. I mean, we all knew that. After Priest beats Carlito, the Judgment Day show up and they start attacking Priest from behind. Rhea Ripley comes down again, like her song hits again. I'm like, damn, this is very... Why didn't she just stay out there for the match? But she comes out, makes the save, fights off Judgment Day, and then kind of like Finn Balor gets kind of caught in the middle between Rhea Ripley and Priest, and I already got a bad feeling about this new Judgment Day stuff. I really have a bad feeling that, I just don't want them to make Finn Balor look like a bitch, is basically what it comes down to. And so far, 2 weeks in a row, he kind of has looked like one. And I get the whole heel thing. You're supposed to be like a cowardly heel type deal or whatever, but I don't know. Balor already, his height is smaller than Priest. He already looks like less than Priest just by a visual aspect of it. And then you're going to have him like run away. Rhea looks taller than him. Like Balor looks so small in that ring compared them to the two that like they're not doing him any favors by making him like get caught in the middle and kind of look like he's just going to get destroyed by these two. JD McDonough comes in from the comes into the ring. He ends up pushing Balor out of the way, kind of thing, or Balor kind of moves out of the way, and he ends up getting JD gets super kicked by Priest, and then South of Heaven and whatever, and then Rhea and Priest hug. And then Dominik Mysterio wants to jump off the top rope to attack them, I guess, but Priest catches him into like a chokeslam position. But instead, he hands him off to Rhea Ripley, who kicks him and then tries to go for the riptide. And as she lifts him up, Liv Morgan pulls him down from the apron, and then they escape that way. And like, I don't know. I feel like the Judgment Day just look like they're out. For some reason, they look like they're outmatched and outnumbers when really it's like 5 on freaking 2. And that's not good. I don't think the Judgment Day have a good, future ahead of them, I guess. And I actually heard rumors that they might change their name to Street Trash. I'm telling you, if they do that, it is game over. We do get an announced match for Bash at Berlin. Later on the night, we get this, but I'll mention it now. Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest versus Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio. So we get a mixed tag team match at Bash in Berlin, which will be a pretty cool match. We all kind of felt like this might be happening at some point. So we're going to get it at Bash, and I think this is a way to kind of give them all something to do while they kind of push themselves through the feud a little bit. Because I think Rhea Ripley is actually going to get her actual like revenge at Bad Blood in October. So they're definitely trying to stretch this out. They're trying to, map it out so that we don't get it right away or too soon and keep them engaged in the feud. And then I think it's going to come to an end basically at Bad Blood. So that's pretty cool. We'll get that match at Bash in the Berlin. Michael Cole said a line. He was just like, oh, they'll finally get their hands on them and get their revenge. And Dom and Liv have nowhere to run or whatever it was. When he said that, I was just like, okay, so Dom and Liv are probably winning. I don't know how they're going to win. Probably outside interference from Judgment Day. Probably Finn will be involved somehow. But I think Dom and Liv win at Bash in Berlin. And that's an early Bash in Berlin predictions. I'm going to try to save my predictions for that video that I'm going to come out with about the predictions. We get Bo Dallas in a backstage vignette. And I got to look at my phone because I took the notes here. I want to make sure I get a lot of this right here. Bo says... he's looking at a TV, just a blank screen, and he says he was there, and it shows Bray on our TV, so he's talking about Bray. He said, something is happening, something big. And then he says the work isn't done. And then the TV, which sounds like Uncle Howdy's voice, says the work must continue and other doors must open. So that's interesting. Bo then repeats, my life for you, and he does that a bunch of times. And then we hear Uncle Howdy say, there you are, and that's it. So what I'm thinking here is, although Chad Gable mentions it later on in the show that he's not done with the Wyatt Six, maybe the Wyatt Six are going to move on to other people here. That's what I get from the work's not done, it must continue, and that other doors must open. So who do the Wyatt Six go after next? take your pick. I mean, you got plenty of families. If they're going to go out the route of like families betraying each other or using each other for, one's benefit or whatever, then you can pretty much go after anybody. You can go after Bloodline to an extent. You can go after Jay. You can go after Judgment Day, because the way they turned on Rhea and Priest. I mean, there's different ways to go here. But maybe they continue their feud with the American Made, Gable and the Creeds. I'm not crazy about that feud, but I really don't want them to stretch that on way longer than it needs to go to, which I feel like if you do another match with them, I feel like it is stretching it out. You don't really need to go against them again. But Gable mentioned them later on in the show, so apparently they're not done with them. We get Odyssey Jones with his in-ring debut on Monday Night Raw. He defeats this guy named Vincent Winey. I guess he's an enhancement talent, a jobber, whatever you want to call him. He beats him, and then after the match, Karrion Kross comes out with the final testament. He gets on the mic, and he mentions, hey, Woods, Kofi is just using Odyssey Jones to not only replace Big E, but he's using him to replace Woods. And then Woods gets on the mic, and he says, hey, you know what? You're trying to drive a wedge into this, and it's not going to happen. Which, of course, when we hear those things on our TVs, it's going to happen. Like, you could say, hey, you're not going to create a wedge. Yeah, the wedge is going to happen now that you said it. So, yeah, I feel like it's coming. And one thing I've noticed, and I think a lot of people are expecting Woods to be the one that turns heel on them, judging by his reactions and stuff. But, man, I'm telling you what, I get a weird, uneasy feeling the way Odyssey Jones and Kofi Kingston have been overly, too good guy-ish. Like, they've been too, happy and you would never kind of expect them to be the bad guy kind of thing, but I think it'd be cool. I would rather see Kofi and Odyssey Jones as heels and Woods as the good guy instead of it flipped. I think if we can get some sympathy and a backing for Xavier Woods, and I've mentioned it in other videos before, I want something for Woods. I want him to win a title. I'm not even talking a main title, but let him get the IC title. I'm not saying take it away from our boy Braun Breaker. Let's not get it wrong here. Braun Breaker deserves that title for as long as he wants to keep it. But eventually down the road, Woods, it'd be cool to have built him up for him to be able to do something like that. But in the meantime, I hope they do something here, because all of this teasing and to not do anything about it, it wouldn't sit right with me or a lot of people for that matter. So I'm thinking if they're going to make people turn heel, I'd rather it be Odyssey Jones and Kofi. I think that'd be a cool new element, a new layer, something to kind of invest in, and have those two against Woods. And then who knows? Maybe at some point Big E comes back and helps Woods out. I'm just saying. That would be pretty freaking cool. We get American Alpha versus... Oh, no. We get Alpha Academy versus American Made. And then during that match, Ivy Nile pops up and attacks Maxine Dupree. Finally, because I've been wondering what's going to happen with Ivy. I would just assume she was going to be heel with them, but this solidifies it. She attacks Maxine. American Made win the match. I'm not going to dive too much into this match, honestly. It was a fine tag team match. Cool spots here and there. But American Made win. Ivy Nile's a heel. You get a bunch of thumbs up from me. I love all of that. We then get a Bronson Reed physics backstage package type thing, all these different numbers and how many tons of force that Rollins felt when Reed did 6 splashes or whatever it was off the top. Yeah, and they eventually mentioned that Rollins has cracked ribs and broken ribs. I don't know, it was something like that where he's gonna be out for a little bit. So this makes me feel like they brought Rollins back early, right? Because they never announced when he was coming back, but he came back. He put Priest over. It's like they didn't have someone for Priest, so they had to ask Rollins to maybe come back a little early, and they did, and he helped, and then now he's gone again. So I think that's what we're gonna get here. Rollins will be gone for a little bit, but when Rollins comes back, I would really love to see him go against Reed, because Reed right now is looking great, and I've been campaigning for this for a little bit now. I want Bronson Reed to get a cool push, and he's starting to get one, and I love that. We got Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. They caused a DQ between who was wrestling? Damage Control and the Pure. What are they calling themselves? I gotta look. The Pure Fusion Collective, which is the team that has Zoe Starks, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville. I'm going to tell you what, man. You guys remember in the last few videos, I've been like wanting them to have a team name, a faction name. This is not it. Like, this is not what I had in mind. In fact, I feel like it's more of a mouthful than it was just to say Sonya and Zoe and Baszler. And I hated that before. I was like, man, let's get them a team name. But here we go. The Pure Fusion Collective. I guess, okay, that's the name. But anyway, that match ends in a DQ. I was assuming in real time that we probably will get like a nice fatal four-way at Bash in Berlin, maybe, with Jade and Bianca being, thrown into that match too. But then I see later on that it's announced for next week a triple threat women's tag team match between those three teams, no Bianca and Jade. I still feel like something might happen where we will get Jade and Bianca thrown in here for a fatal four-way or even just a 2-on-2 at Bash in Berlin. I don't think that's over yet. I don't know if it's cut and dry for that triple threat next week, but we'll see. It could end up being that way, and if I don't know who wins. I want to say Alba Fire and Isla Dawn win next week. But if Jade and Bianca find their way in that match, then Jade and Bianca's got to win this thing. We get a good promo between Gunther and Randy Orton. And you know what? With Bash in Berlin being only a couple of weeks away, we really don't need much more of a build than this. I mean, everything kind of just speaks for itself. You can add any other like fodder or like B-roll that you need to add into the video package when you want to hype this thing up or not. But it's flat out Randy Orton versus Gunther. You don't need months and weeks of build on this. Like what they did in this just one promo was enough to fill the interest in all the fans. Everybody's already interested anyway. Everybody wants to see this match. You don't have to sell anybody anymore on this match. I'm already game on. Let's go. I'm ready. I love it. And but they had a really good promo. RKO to Gunther at the end there. Drew McIntyre comes out. He was about to say something when CM Punk attacks him from behind. Drew takes off his belt like he's gonna get back at Punk. He wants to go hit Punk with his pants belt and misses. Punk attacks him, takes the belt away from Drew, and starts whipping Drew with it. And that's basically how the segment goes. Punk's music hits at the end. Drew runs away. That kind of whole thing. And I mean, simple. I mean, Punk was there this week. He didn't say anything really, and he just attacked Drew. And this is gonna continue on. We get a backstage interview, though, with CM Punk. He gets interviewed by Kathy Kelly. She mentions that, hey, they were on the same flight. You said we heard that you had flight complications. How could that be? We're on the same flight, whatever. Punk pretty much says that I know that if I said that I was coming here and I'd be here, that Drew wouldn't be here. And then, he mentions that, Drew, it's not even about the bracelet anymore. Drew can keep the bracelet. And I thought, good. Be done with the damn bracelet. I can't take it anymore, dude. Let him keep it. Punk said it's just about the context of it. He just needs to keep my wife's name and my dog's name out of his mouth, basically is what it is. So keep the bracelet, Drew. Just stop bringing up Punk's wife and his dog so that I don't have to keep hearing about this damn bracelet every single week. Like, this is a feud between two grown-ass men, and they're great at what they do. We don't need to belittle it and bring it all the way down to it just being circled around a freaking bracelet. Like, who gives a damn? Like, let's do something else here. But at the end of that interview, it was pretty interesting because Punk had the belt still in his hand, and he kind of, the way he hinted and the way he looked at it, he says, I know what I need to do now kind of thing. Or I know how to solve it now. It kind of reminded me like he was maybe hinting at maybe like a strap match. You imagine that? A strap match in WWE today with Punk and Drew? I am all for that. Sign me up. I hope that's what's going to happen. That'd be amazing. I don't know if it's going to happen at Bash or after, but sign me up. Put it at Bash. Punk versus Drew, strap match at Bash in Berlin. Hell yeah. I wasn't even going to cover this match, but because of what happened, I'm going to. Bronson Reed ends up beating Miz. Bronson Reed went to go up to after the match, he was going to go up to the top rope and deliver a tsunami splash to Miz. But instead, R-Truth gets in there, he rolls Miz out, he tries to tell, Bronson not to do it, and then Bronson does it to R-Truth. And not only did he did it to R-Truth, he did like a diving crossbody, but he ended up doing like 6 other tsunami splashes to R-Truth. So, you got to figure, if Seth Rollins is gone because of this, then they're going to have to do the same thing for R-Truth. So everybody who loves R-Truth, I would say prepare not to see him for a little bit. I don't know how long, but I would imagine he's not going to be there for next week's Raw. He probably won't be there for the Raw after that. I would assume R-Truth's going to be gone for a little bit. And I think I love the way this is going for Bronson Reed right now. Build this guy up. Make that tsunami splash look dangerous. This guy's like 400 pounds jumping off the top rope, splashing on people. Push this guy. Make him do something. I love the way this is turning out so far. Let's keep going with it. We got a backstage segment here. It's the Judgment Day. They say no leaders, no egos, no Damian, no Rhea. And then Balor says, hey, Damian, watch out. Backstabbing Balor is about. I'm like, we're going to be spitting riddles now. And you know what? They talk about no leaders, but Finn Balor has acted like a leader this whole time. So I don't know what they're going to do with this. I'll tell you what, man. I am worried about this Judgment Day. I've mentioned it already, but just seeing them all collectively together, they look like they don't belong with one another. They're kind of misfits in a way. I really hope they don't rebrand this name and change it. Not only that, but I need to be taking them seriously. If I want a nice feud with Balor and Priest, Balor can't be looking like a wimp. They look like chumps, and I don't like that. I like those people in the Judgment Day, man, and I especially love Balor, and I want more for him. I want him to become a champion again someday. This is not boding well for him so far. It's time for main event, Breakker versus Sami Zayn, and as Breakker is walking out, he looks at the camera and he says, hey, Pat McAfee, football guy. Are there any dogs barking out here in Texas? And then you hear all the barks from the crowd, and then Braun Breaker's music hits. This guy is over as hell, and I love it because I've mentioned it before. An NXT superstar getting called up is so hard for them to get over, and this dude has gotten over with the quickest I've ever seen anyone ever get over from NXT in that short amount of time. Maybe the last time, maybe Kevin Owens was the one that got over that quickly, but unbelievable. I mean, strap a rocket to the guy. And so he faces him in a 2 out of 3 falls for the Intercontinental Championship. And ultimately, to save all the ins and outs of the match, it was a great match, by the way. I mean, this has done wonders for Braun Breaker. This dude's putting out classics out there, and Sami Zayn is a perfect opponent for him. So I loved this whole match. It was amazing. Sami did get a pinfall in there somewhere, but Breaker ends up getting the 2 wins to 1. And the final fall was Breaker spearing Sami Zayn out of the sky. I thought it was beautiful. What a perfect way to end it. Breaker retains the championship, holds it high at the end of the match to go off the air. This dude, again, another Raw where he is standing tall at the end of it, top of the world, Braun Breaker is. And the glaze, if you know this channel, we are going to glaze this man until the very end. Braun Breaker gets all the glaze here at Wicked Bitter. So if you're joining in on this channel, prepare to glaze with us. Braun Breaker, amazing. Great main event. I think he can finally now move on. And we probably see Sami and Jay go for those tag team titles. But Braun Breaker's next opponent, that's going to be interesting. All right, guys, I thank you so much for checking out this video. Like I said earlier, there'll be other videos. This week might be just a little kind of busy for me. I got a project that's due, and it's due like this weekend, so I'm going to be pretty busy. But I would like to put out another video, at least an email video. So please send in those emails. I'll read them in another video. I'll post the video. I'll get to your emails, which I love, by the way. I love the email videos. So wickedbittermedia@gmail.com. Feel free, please, to send in your emails. Have a good rest of your week, my friends. We will talk soon. Trust me. Nothing is going to stop this channel from going. So I appreciate all of you. Please like the video. It does a lot for me. It does a lot for the channel. It does a lot for these videos. So until we yeet again, my friends, as always, stay bitter.